Everything is wrong. Nothing is right. On a scale of rightness, the dial is currently all the way over to the left. Some would disagree, of course. Some would say that things aren't all that bad. But we know, if anything, that the opposite is true. Things are a long way from being fine. A very long way indeed. Fine is currently so far away that it is not visible with the naked eye. Fine is 80 kilometres away at least, maybe more, and we're on foot. Mountains tower high in all directions. The blazing sun burns our necks. Monsoon season is just around the corner, but everything will be fine. The outskirts of the final village peter out. From here on, only desert. Arid ground and scorched earth, and an emptiness deeper than the ocean, but everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. A peasant man calls to us. Follow that path no further, only peril lies ahead. But we merely turn and say, everything will be fine. He shakes his head and kneels in prayer to his God. Dear Lord, please let everything be fine. We scramble over jagged rocks and tumble down dunes. At night the sunburn keeps us warm. We worry vaguely about developing skin cancer down the line, but no, everything will be fine. We pass a sign. Fine, 65 kilometres. Make a U-turn where possible. We ignore it like the brave souls we are. Many would call us fools. The sign maker would feel exonerated. We've had our warning, but everything will be fine. There is a vulture, keeping his distance, but nevertheless following. He flaps his wings from time to time, progressing a short flight for every 100 of our steps. He thinks his train's come in, but we know everything will be fine. Our feet are blistered. The light is so bright that when I close my eyes, all I can see are colours. I'm so dehydrated I lick the sweat off my arms. The vulture licks his lips. But everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. Fine is 50 kilometres away and getting closer all the time. Everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. We find a pool of water, only to discover that it's where the leopards come to poo. The vulture's taken to walking by our sides, looking up at us expectantly like a train station pigeon. Everything will be fine. Africa by Toto has been stuck in my head for 9 days, but everything will be fine. Fine is 43.5 kilometres away. This morning I thought I caught a glimpse of its glistening towers and inviting portcullises, but it was only a gravestone. Here lies the unfortunate remains of a fool. He thought everything would be fine, but alas, he died in vain. We've given the vultures names, Stuart and Kirsty. There's 2 of them now. Watching their romance blossom has given us hope, a slither of promise that everything in fact will be fine. Fine is a mere 38 kilometres away. We lie awake at night, unable to sleep over the sounds of the vultures mating. We settled for a lunchtime nap the other day, and when I awoke, Stuart was nibbling my ear. Damn it, he's still alive, I thought I heard him squawk. Everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. We found a skeleton, bleached bright white in the sunlight. Not an ounce of flesh left on the bones. It had arranged itself tastefully on a large rock, pointing desperately towards home. Turn back for the love of all that is holy, his eye sockets seemed to say. The only things left of him were his sunglasses, prescriptions useless, and his rucksack. In it were a dirty magazine and a Twix bar, half-eaten and badly melted. We moved on. As the days get even longer, and our trudging more lethargic, it is sometimes the case that one starts to doubt whether everything will actually be fine. Fine is still a good 28 or so kilometres away. We've lost track. Our mouths are too dry to speak, so we suffer for hour upon hour, with only our inner monologues to guide us. It is at this stage that it is more important than ever to remember that everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. The vultures have a baby now. It's surprisingly cute. We think it's a boy, so we named it Darren. Seeing the hopeful wonder in his eyes, hearing his pitiful cheeping, feeling the love and tender care of his parents reminds us that everything will be fine. Kirsty tore off part of my leg to feed her baby. I gave it willingly, for I knew, in my heart of hearts, that in the end, eventually, maybe not now, maybe not tomorrow, perhaps not even in our lifetimes, but one day, one glorious cathartic day, everything will be. There it is, on the horizon, faint but undeniable, distant but within reach. Fine. We're going to make it. Our avian Sherpas eye each other nervously. Everything will be fine, they tell themselves. It can only be 10, maybe 15 kilometres away. A flag rises high above the battlements, flapping like a little fabric square of salvation, waving to us, calling to us, everything will be fine. The final stretch is the longest. It's easy to forget how far there is still to go. My blisters are now so large that they've developed blisters of their own. Last night I dreamt that one of them had gained sentience and had applied for legal separation from the rest of my body. It's like walking on two little water beds. I was so thirsty this morning that I bit the bullet and popped one of them. The fluid, whilst putrid, wasn't nearly enough to soothe my parched throat. Everything will be fine, I croaked. We reach the summit of a hill and look out across the wide open valley in which the great city of Fine sits front and centre, only a few kilometres away, and with only a gaping canyon between it and us. Everything will be fine. We traverse the steep stony path down into the depths. The late afternoon sun vanishes behind the cliff face. It's as cold as night. The vultures wheel joyfully in the sky. We reach the bottom and find them chewing gleefully on the body of a dead climber. We've become fond of the little family. We stroke them affectionately. It's safe to say we've bonded with them. None of them have tried to eat me for at least a week. Not that there's much of us left. We're barely more than skeletons ourselves now. We probably weigh less than the vultures. In fact, on the battlements of the city of Fine, two weary soldiers look off into the distance. "Here, Len, can you see something over there?" "What?" "Over there, in the distance." "Oh, bloody hell, not another one. That's the third time this week. Well, I've nowhere to put 'em, I'm telling you. They're a burden on the system, and it's regular folk like you and me that have to pick up the slack. I hear you, mate, you're preaching to the converted." For in the distance, tiny but undeniable, the two men could see me, rising like a phoenix, majestic, beautiful, striking a messianic pose with a vulture on either arm, weak and malnourished, scorched and dry, but ultimately fine. "Everything is fine, see," I cry. "Everything is fine." "Bet you 5 groats he thinks he's a messenger of God," said Len to his colleague. "In fact, make that 10. As the sun sets over the distant hills, we reach the mighty gates of Fine. The imposing stone walls towering over us, flags flapping audibly in the gentle breeze. Salvation, vindication, liberty, freedom, everything, everything, is finally fine. Oi! A voice calls down from up high. Hello? I stammer weakly in reply. Why don't you two just bugger off?